Greg McKeown has written a very interesting book, Essentialism. It is quite very much relevant to entrepreneurs. It's really about being able to choose those activities that are essential for one's achievement of one's objectives. Many of us are confronted with a choice, but in many cases we are failing to make that choice. It's a human nature to want to do everything. And I think when he wrote the book, he was aiming at such people. And I perceive myself as one of those that are actually supposed to benefit from this book. It's about time value analysis. It's about being critical about the amount of activities that one embarks on. It encourages one to focus on achieving operational effectiveness by doing away with those non-essential activities. But at the same time, it talks about being able to build more energy by way of allowing yourself to sometimes just take off and have time in a day where you rest and become refreshed before you carry on with the day's activities. It's about the realization that there is nothing wrong in experiencing boredom, being alone, and using that time alone to reflect. He talks also about being able to value the time you spend resting and sleeping, and there's nothing wrong in doing that. There are many techniques that one can apply to reassert oneself, and among others, it could be journaling, but being disciplined not to journal in more long-winded sentences, but just being short and precise and to the point. And that's where it starts. The Essentialism also talks about setting the priorities. And once you have set the priorities, you stick to those priorities by making sure that you execute what you plan to execute. It's about doing away with those activities that are imposed on you by others and you feel obliged to do them because of your relationship with the other people, not wanting to disappoint them. You need to come first, and you need to be always holding the bigger picture and being guided by what you are all about, making sure that the activities that you are embarking on are aligned with the goals that you want to take. Once you have taken decisions to do certain things, you need to make sure that those decisions are carried out without any sense of feeling guilty for having selected and left out other things. It is a very interesting concept when one thinks of the pressures that we are faced with. It's a human nature of wanting to be doing so much, especially in this world of VUCA, the so-called VUCA world, the world that is so volatile, that is so uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. The pressures are many, and the interests are quite multifaceted, and we want to be doing everything that is presented to us by this world. With the fourth industrial revolution being upon us, information being around us, we can easily be tempted not to switch off and just to carry on. Now, the essentialism or the essentialists are disciplined in doing less but doing it to the best. It's about doing the things that are important. It's about choosing, making choices irrespective of the many other options that are facing us. Essentialists are quite very strategic in terms of how they deploy themselves. Essentialists are aware of the fact that it's impossible to do everything. It is impossible to be an answer to every problem that you come across, and therefore they learn to be selective in terms of the time they spend on doing things. It's a great tool or concept. It's a principle that one must adopt it fully and apply it and to benefit from what it promises to deliver. I find it quite very helpful, insightful, and I feel very challenged by it. I have decided to reintroduce the journaling, a new book that I will use to journal daily, but be disciplined not just to journal on everything, but be selective and be short in my journaling. I feel it is a reminder that I will keep, and every time when I'm confronted with many things, I will challenge myself by asking a question as to whether I have to do everything that is confronting me, and if I have to select what is the basis on which I select the tasks that I have to do. And if I've selected those tasks, I need to ask myself if they are aligned with my goals in life, if they are going to help me to grow and to be productive and achieve highest level of operational effectiveness. I believe very strongly that one will benefit from this discipline, from this principle and this practice. I therefore commit to test it, experience it, write the experiences that I'm making, and reflect on an ongoing basis. In conclusion, I would like to summarize what essentialism is about. Essentialism is about applying this principle of selective choices. It's about doing time value analysis, whereby you question whether the time you spend on doing all these things is worth it or not. It's about aligning these tasks with the objectives that one set himself. And it's about setting priorities, leaving out what is not important and doing what really matters. And lastly, it's about taking decisions, and once you've taken decision, you execute on those decisions and experience the results that are of helping you achieve maximum impact. Great concept indeed.